This is a Naked Conch production brought to you by Live Bait Lounge in beautiful Key West Harbor, located at Key West Bait and Tackle, where you can get all your fishing supplies when in Key West. And Catch the Mania pub style trivia. Make your bar or restaurant an exciting venue with Catch the Mania.
All right, welcome to the Lodging Association's Candidates Forum. We're very fortunate today to have the candidates running for Monroe County Sheriff and for Monroe County State's Attorney. We have some rules that we'll go over with you so everybody is on the same page with regard to how the forum will take place today. Each candidate will be given a 2-minute opening statement where they can explain their qualifications and explain their candidacy. We'll begin with the sheriff's candidates, and then we will move on to the state attorney's candidates. And the Lodging Association membership has submitted questions, and I'll be pulling questions at random, and we'll have each candidate answer the same question. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes, 90 seconds to answer the question, and we'll rotate between the candidates, and we'll rotate between the positions that they're running for. So, for example, the first random question, we'll ask to have each sheriff's candidate answer, and then we'll pull a random question for the state's attorney's candidate. So we'll mix things up a little bit here. At the very first question that we ask will be a question that the Lodging Association has submitted that all 4 candidates will answer, and the same will happen with the very last question. When I talk about 90 seconds to answer the question, we're going to actually have people, we have Jody up here who's going to be timing you, and when you have 15 seconds left, she's going to notify you that you have 15 seconds left. I want to caution the candidates not to go over their 90 seconds, because the punishment for going over 90 seconds, and this one's a pretty dastardly one, you'll be required to choreograph and perform an interpretive dance to Clint Eastwood's speech at the Republican National Convention. So you do not want to be thrust into that briar patch, I assure you. So we'll begin with a 2-minute opening statement from the candidates running for sheriff, and Tom Vitak will begin with you.
All right, can you hear me? Yep. Okay. First, I'd like to thank you for having us here. Get an opportunity to talk with us, ask us questions, get to learn a little background about us. I'm Tom Vitak. I'm a Florida Keys resident, long-time resident, not a Conch. Came here in the early 70s, family moved down, started a business in the Upper Keys, which was a trailer park. Learned a little bit about customer service, meeting with people. We had a repeat customer crowd that was seasonal, that would come every year, spend time in the park, and we did pretty much everything for them when they pulled in. Graduated from Key West High School, was here for a couple more years, was trying to find a way to make a living, and became dissatisfied, went off and spent 7 years in the Air Force. Came back, I traveled the world, Italy, France, England, Scotland, got a chance to see how other countries operate. Came back, was here for a few more years, working at Sears as a mechanic. I got to run the shop on Saturdays, so I was in charge of making sure the customers were out the door at closing time. Came to work for the sheriff's office. Billy Freeman hired me. Worked as a dispatcher for a year, road patrol, school resource officer, field training officer, community policing officer, bicycle officer, Marine unit Lower Keys until it was disbanded, only used for special occasions. And my last tour of duty was civil process server. Kind of got an idea where the economy's at, where businesses are at, and also how we need to be a little more responsible with the budgets. Thanks for having us, and look forward to your questions.
Rick Ramsey.
Okay, thank you so much for letting me spend a little time with you today. I appreciate you coming down and being here with me. I am Rick Ramsey. I am with the Sheriff's Office. I've been with the Sheriff's Office now for 25 years. I'm currently the second in command of the Sheriff's Office, which is the Colonel and the Chief Operating Officer of the Sheriff's Office. I've been the Sheriff's Office number 2 person for 8 years under 2 sheriffs, Sheriff Roth and Sheriff Perrin. I started my career as a deputy in Marathon. I've promoted up to every rank in this agency, working in every position, starting as a deputy, traffic officer, sergeant, detective sergeant, detective lieutenant, captain of the jail, captain on patrol, a lieutenant colonel, and now full colonel, the second in command. During my 8 years, we've done a lot in this county. We've done a lot for the citizens. Right now, crime is down 8.1%. Crime has continued to come down during my 8-year tenure as the second in command. Your budget has come down while I've been the second in command. Right now, your budget is at 06 level. We've done a lot to make a lot of difficult decisions to keep the budget down and not impact taxpayers. We've done more with less, and able to keep crime down while doing that more with less philosophy. We've got retention of our employees, the best it's been in 12 years. We've worked hard to make this a safe place to live, work, and raise your family. I myself came here in 1976 from New York when I was a kid still in school. I graduated at Marathon High School. Right after that, started with the Sheriff's Office back in 1987 after being hired by Sheriff Freeman and myself. And I've had the pleasure of working here as a deputy from that day on through where I'm at today. So once again, I appreciate you spending a little time with me today.
Thank you. Move to the questioning portion of the forum, and we'll begin, Rick, with you. And this will be a question for all 4 candidates, but we'll begin with the sheriff's candidate. Now that we're down to the final 2 candidates for your office, Sheriff of Monroe County, please explain why you feel you're more qualified for the position, or why we should vote for you instead of your opponent.
Okay, thank you. The Sheriff's Office is a very complex agency. It's a multi-million-dollar agency, a $41.3 million agency with 500 employees. There's a lot going on in the Sheriff's Office. 41% of our budget is a jail. We have 3 jails. We're responsible for care, custody, and control of 600 inmates. During my tenure, I've been the captain of the jail. I run the jail. I've been a captain on patrol. Complex investigations, I've been a detective sergeant, detective lieutenant. There's so much going on here, you have to know a little bit about everything. I'm the only candidate that has law enforcement administrative experience. I'm the only candidate with corrections administrative experience. I'm the only candidate with law enforcement management experience. I'm the only candidate with corrections management experience. I'm the only candidate with law enforcement supervisory experience. I'm the only candidate with budgetary experience. Preparing, managing, being held fiscally responsible for multi-million-dollar budgets. I'm the only candidate with proven leadership experience as running the Sheriff's Office for all these years here now. There's a lot to this job. And this is something I've worked my entire life to prepare for today. The training, the experience I have, I'm the most qualified, I'm the most experienced, I'm the most diversified, I'm the most trained person for this job. Thank you.
Same question, Tom Peter.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear a lot about experience. You're going to hear a lot about individual experiences. What I'm going to bring is something fresh. We've been kind of stuck in a rut. We've been a reactive agency through the years. We've gotten progressively worse. We've gotten big. We've gotten cumbersome. We've gotten fat. I told you I was a civil process server. I'm very familiar about the economic times. I'm very familiar about what it means to keep a roof over your head, keep rent, clothes. We need to streamline. We need to take a different approach. I'm a candidate that's willing to bring you a fresh approach. You're going to have a choice. You can vote for the status quo, the way it's been for the last 15 years, or you can take a chance on a candidate that's willing to bring a fresh approach. Billy Freeman, when he came to the sheriff's office, Billy Freeman was an insurance salesman. He wasn't a law enforcement officer. But Billy took the time to spend time with officers, go riding. He used to sit with me in dispatch and ask me very candid questions about what was happening, what was going on. I have that same curiosity. I'm willing to sit down and talk to people. I'm willing to bring in experienced people to help me in the areas that I'm weak. Think about the status quo, streamline, fresh approach.
We're now going to draw random questions that have been submitted by the membership, and they're directed to specifically the 2 offices. The first question is directed to the candidates running for sheriff. Tom, will begin with you, and each of you will have 90 seconds to answer the same question. Please explain your level of commitment to Florida's open records and sunshine laws, and do you think they're worthwhile?
Yes, I do. I'm going to pledge this commitment as sheriff I believe we should be open and transparent within the community. We should be above reproach. We should release public records when the public requests them instead of trying to jump through hoops. I believe our budget should be clear and concise. It should be a line item budget where you see where your tax dollars are going. You can sit there and get a better understanding. I listened to Commissioner Carruthers the other day say the same thing to the county commission this week, tell them we need to make our budget so taxpayers can see where their money is going. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm above reproach. I'm very open, I'm approachable, and I think we should exercise a free public records.
Same question, Rick Ramsey.
I as well believe that the public records law are a good thing, are there for a reason. We make our records available. We are transparent. We make our records available upon request. A lot of our stuff are online. You can go at our keysesto.net and see most of our stuff yourself online by researching it. Our budget. Our budget is important to the Florida law. Florida law outlines, dictates how a budget will be prepared. We just don't make it up on ourselves. These are best accounting practices set. So when we talk about our budget, we're in compliance with how Florida law dictates we must prepare our budget. So, and our budget, I believe, is still pretty easy to read. Now, when it comes to sunshine law violations, we don't get too much involved in investigative. That's generally the state attorney's office. But if and then the time comes up that we were aware of it, or asked to help, or participate, or work with the state attorney's office, we would have full cooperation on any type of sunshine law violations. So once again, we are transparent, we believe in transparency, and we've proven we're transparent.
Thank you. Question for each of the sheriff candidates, and Rip, we'll begin with you. Each of you will have the same question, and each of you will have 90 seconds. Please explain your position on stun guns and the use of stun guns in Monroe County.
Okay, stun guns are also known as tasers. A stun gun is something that physically you touch someone, but a taser is what we have, which shoots out 2 bars. Tasers, we carry, and we believe we're safe. Our goal with tasers are to reduce hands-on. We don't want our officers with people in the street seeing who's the baddest guy in the block. We don't want officers getting hurt, and we don't want to hurt people who may be arrested or we're encountering with. This is a tool to mitigate having to worry about slugging it out, rolling it around, having officers get hurt, hurting inmates. We do have tasers in the jail as well. We have them with supervisors in case there's something going on. We can bring a taser down and try to de-escalate the situation. Tasers have been very effective. Just the presence alone seems to stop most situations. We have combative people in the field. We pull a taser out and say, we're going to tase you or a taser. People know that taser. They don't want any part of it. I myself have been tased. I'm certified to carry one, and I voluntarily took a hit with a taser so I could feel what it took place myself and know what it's like and know what the person was going through if we had to tase them. They've been very effective. I believe in them. I support them. I was part of the push to get tasers to the sheriff's office to make it safer for our men and women in the sheriff's office and make it safer for the men and women on the streets and in the general public. Thank you very much.
Tom, same question.
Well, I think Rick covered it pretty good. Support the tasers. Being a deputy that had to work midnights by myself at the time, I didn't have any of those fancy intermediate weapons. It was just me. I had to do a lot of talking. And had to go that route in order to do what I had to do because backup was 20 miles away. We need, as an agency, to expand our training. Florida's led the nation for the past 2 years in law enforcement deaths related to training incidents. Taser, hopefully it will save some of them and keep from somebody losing their life. But I think we need to do more. We need to do something almost monthly to make sure our people are well trained, that they're professional when they go out on the street and dealing with the public. The key seems to draw a wide variety of different crowds. There's people with mental issues, there's people with drug issues, and we're constantly shifting gears. When the call goes out, you never know who you're going to be dealing with until you arrive on the scene. Sometimes you're fortunate, you got a unit there to back you up immediately. Sometimes you got to wait a little bit. But I'm all for additional training. I'm all for extra tools to make our lives easier and safer.
Next question to the sheriff's candidates. Tom, we'll begin with you. And let me just say this as an aside. These questions are terrific. The Lodging Association members have submitted. This is no exception. Given the dramatic increase in gasoline prices, what is your position on allowing deputies to take home their vehicles? Does it matter if they live inside or outside the county?
Good question. What we're finding, or what I'm seeing from the outside, cost of gas is going to be $3 this month, $6 next month. We got to curtail, I think, the personal use of our take-home vehicles. I still say that we take cars home. The reason being this is that there's been studies done. There's been studies of hot seating cars where you drive up in the station, the person that's relieving you jumps in the car and goes. The life expectancy of those cars are shortened immensely. To take home cars in the neighborhoods is a crime deterrent. As far as leaving the county, we do have a number of deputies that leave the county, that go to Miami or Homestead where they live. I think the cars should still remain in Monroe County. I think we need to kind of cut back on the policy, but I think we need to give them a timetable. Several deputies, and I think Rick may be one of them, doesn't have a personal vehicle. He drives that car to the grocery store, to a friend's house, and we need to bring that in. We need to cut the fuel costs, we need to cut our rate of purchasing vehicles, and we need to cut down on maintenance. Thank you.
Same question, Rick Ramsey.
Well, first of all, I do own a car, and I never drive my car off duty, so that's not true for myself. But the policy, yes. The take-home car policy is a good policy in county. It's part of what's called the Indianapolis program. Like Tom had said, studies have been on these use of these cars, deterrent for crime, the availability for officers to respond when not working, when we need them for emergency, the life expectancy of the cars to exist. Instead of a year and a half, we can keep cars on the road for 4 to 5 years, and then we cycle them out to detective cars. But we have been proactive in curtailing the use of these cars. We put a policy in place, effective June 1 of this year already, in place. Anybody who's now hired cannot take a car into Dade County. Anybody who lives in Monroe County right now, working for us, and decides to move into Dade County, is not allowed to take a car to Dade County. We just ratified a contract with the union about these cars, giving us authority to make decisions on cars, where we'll give the officers 6 months' notice if we're going to take a catastrophic change to the policy. If we're going to tell people in Dade County that you can't take your car to Dade County, we're going to give you notice in time so you can decide what you're going to do. Are you going to buy a second car? Are you going to carpool? Or are you going to quit? So we have been streamlining. We have been pulling that policy back in, and you have seen changes. We have been effective in that. Good question.
And again, because these questions are so good, I'm going to put a compound question together, and the two don't necessarily have anything to do with each other. Rick, we'll begin with you, and again, the compound question. Part one of that is, what strategies do you propose to limit the deaths and accidents on US 1? And two, what do you deem to be the primary issue facing the Sheriff's Office?
Okay, two good questions. I think the primary issue right now, that I keep saying, is just the ever-changing computers, the in-car stuff, the software. That changes. As soon as you buy something new today, it's old tomorrow. Our technology is changing so fast, it's hard to keep up with it. All of us in business, the same thing. You buy a computer, you buy an iPhone. You know, iPhones came out a couple years ago. Now you've got iPhone 5 coming out. Well, we have the same problem with technology. Computers, radio systems, in-car equipment. As soon as we buy it, it's antiquated. And that stuff is so expensive, so we have a hard time just trying to keep up with the changes. The financial aspect of that, looking at grants, trying to have compatible software, stuff that changes today and not compatible with something tomorrow. That's just something IT right now is one of the biggest things I think we have to worry about and keep on top of. Accidents on the road. Boy, I tell you what, we all know how dangerous these roads are. This road is just terrible. We have a selective traffic enforcement unit, which is focusing on nothing but traffic enforcement, crashes, DUI enforcement. We instill to the need of our officers for traffic. Probably the biggest complaint we get is traffic-related complaints that we come in, reckless drivers, speeders, and we continue to try to focus in those areas, do more with our technology, identify hotspots, get a pattern, and move resources there based on daytime, nighttime, and what we're seeing for a pattern of crash analysis. So we do a lot of analysis. I think it's Dan, right?
Yeah, I did. Oh, by the skin of your teeth.
You don't want to see me dance.
Tom, it's a compound question. I'll
Can I
repeat.
get the second one, second half only?
Okay, well, maybe I'll just give both to you. What strategies do you propose to limit the deaths and accidents on US 1? And what do you deem to be the primary issue facing the sheriff's office?
All right. Monroe County, US 1, we get between 3,000 and 3,400 calls for service each year for reckless, aggressive driving. It's a high number. We get probably 10,000 vehicles a day traveling down US 1, I'm told. One of the goals that I have, or visions for the sheriff's office, our traffic division is centralized out of Maritime, though they have unit stations throughout the county. I want to decentralize that unit. I want to bring them back to the sectors or districts or their lower area, their work out of the substations. I want to add to that unit. That's a high number. We have a high amount of crashes. I'd also like to educate our rental car agency. I can't tell you the number of school buses that get passed daily from people that have no idea what Florida laws are. They go by, our kids are walking across the street. We need to go after these issues. We need to attack those issues. I'm not saying pick on the tourists. I'm saying that we need to go after bad driving habits and try to correct them before it is economic. Tax rate. One of the biggest issues in the sheriff's, I think the sheriff's office is going to face, and it's actually two-pronged, will be budget issues and retention issues for new employees, or keeping employees long enough so that we have knowledgeable, experienced deputies working for the sheriff's office. Currently in the retention field from 0 to 10 years, I missed the sign and I was like, is the sign coming?
We're going to give each candidate an opportunity to ask one question to his or her opponent. And Tom, we'll begin with you. One question you have to Rick Ramsey, and then Rick will have 90 seconds to answer, and then he will have an opportunity to ask you a question, and you will have 96 seconds to answer.
Interesting. That's first for reform. So, okay, Rick. County Commission this week. There were several talks and concerns about Duck Key annexing or possibly annexing and Key Haven annexing to the city of Key West. Commissioners were concerned about the budget, and basically were saying that if one or both were to annex, that it would bankrupt the county. My question to you is, what are your plans to streamline the sheriff's office in that event?
You have 90 seconds.
Okay, let's hope it doesn't come down to that. But if it does, we would have to make some drastic measures. We've already taken drastic measures to cut the budget to where we're at today. We would have to look at every position from the top to the bottom, from administration, management, supervision, to patrol, corrections. We would have to cut out services. I'd be looking at every position there is, determining which ones, while we can justify, but what we get rid of. We would look at our fleet, buying less cars, maybe going through the take-home program, taking that away, maybe keeping cars so they're rotated in. I would be looking at recovering all the cars in Dade County and not allowing officers to have them out of county. We have to give 6 months notice by contract, union contract policy requires to give notice to the employees, but we would give due notice thereof. We would potentially look at restricting the mileage on cars. How many miles might a guy and gal could drive on a car? We did this back there in Freeman days when I was an officer. We only just drive so many miles a night because of mileage. We would have to look at overall budget, streamlining programs potentially being cut. We'd have to evaluate the needs of every program, put in difficult times. True leader has to step up and make difficult decisions, which is what we did when the economy first crashed. We made those difficult decisions. We cut millions of dollars out of the budget. And if I had to, I proved I could do it once, I could do it again. And Rick, you have one question to address to your opponent. Okay, I would ask my opponent, as I spoke earlier, no disrespect, but I do not believe he's got the qualification and experience with no supervisory law enforcement, no management, no administration, no budget. So I'd ask, without the experience, you talk about taking a chance on you, how would you operate a multi-million-dollar agency with 500 employees?
Tom, you have 90 seconds.
I hear what Rick's saying. He's been trained under Rick Roth, Sheriff Caribbean. Kind of in the same mold. The same thing that we've been doing for the last 15 years. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all business owners, managers of companies. Stop and think. In your business, your line of work, if you presented the same product for the last 15 years, how many customers would you have today? Our customers are the public. I'm here and I walked the highway from the 106 mile marker to the 0 mile marker, banging on business doors. I heard what the public had to say. Businesses that hadn't seen a deputy in 15 years, and that 15th year was an incident that they had. We should be approachable to the community. I've worked in the community. I've committed to the community. I sat on several boards, board of director of Rotary, Big Pine, vice president, president, treasurer, JC's on Big Pine. I was on the Fraternal Order of Police. I served almost every position on that board, including state trustee for several years, where I represented Monroe County at the state level. Been in the service. I was a sergeant. Been around the world. I'm worldly minded. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for...
Each candidate will now have a 1-minute closing, and we will begin with the sheriff's candidates and Rick Ramsey.
Okay, thank you so much for spending some time with me. Let me spend time with you today. You know, I tell people I'm proud of the Sheriff's Office. I'm proud of where we stand today, what we built today. We have one of the most professional, exceptional law enforcement agencies anywhere. We have some of the best men and women anywhere. I think our officers are very high-trained officers. They do a good job. We're active in the community. We have community partnerships. We're with the community. We're on boards. I myself am very active. I sit on 10 boards. And I participate with countless other boards throughout the year. My commitment to this community is without question. I'm on United Way, leadership. I'm on Guidance Care Center, Children's Shelter, Mark. I made my life this community. I've spent my whole career preparing for this day today. Training, experience, qualification, those are important. The business, that's what you look for when you're hiring someone to run your business. Qualifications, experience, proven leadership. Thank you once again. I appreciate everybody's time.
You have 1 minute.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having us. It's been a pleasure. Interesting question. The one prior to. Where are we going with this? A lot of people are going to look at this race as a party race. I'm going to beg to differ with you. I think it's about choices. I think it's about how you're going to run your business, or what do you want your sheriff's office to be. I think we got a chance to be one of the premier agencies in South Florida where everybody points their finger and says, wow. I'm not saying we don't have good people. I'm saying we're going in the wrong direction. I'm offering you as a community, as a business community, a partnership to join with me and make this a better community. Let's get our officers better trained. Let's get them out in the streets where you know them by their first names. They're approachable. You can talk to them. Thanks again.
This is a Naked Conch production brought to you by Live Bait Lounge in beautiful Key West Harbor, located at Key West Bait and Tackle, where you can get all your fishing supplies when in Key West. And Catch the Mania pub-style trivia. Make your bar or restaurant an exciting venue with Catch the Mania.